Hello and welcome to the second episode of Flesh and Blood in a Budget. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the support in the first episode. So, let's get into the first upgrades for our deck. From last week's gem pack, we pulled a Rainbow Fall Fielded Green and a regular Redfin Harpoon. These two go up for about 350 euros. So we're going to be adding that to our budget for this week. Before heading into the upgrades, I just want to clarify a couple of things. First, I own most of the cards I'm going to be adding to this series, so I won't be doing a lot of extra buying cards. So please just ignore if there are any cards in a special rarity, though we are going to take the cheapest version possible. And second, I'm going to be using Karma, the European low for the prices, and I won't be using any special reprint set that's only available in one place. For example, I won't be using any History Pack Black Label since the cards are way cheaper than the regular versions, and I want to keep it fair for everyone else that's not in Europe and doesn't have access to those cards. As start in play, stay in play, equipments are some of the most powerful cards in the game. A lot of equipments are of the legendary rarity, so this means that they are going to be expensive, but we need to work with the cheaper ones. First of all, we're going to say goodbye to the Snapdragon Scalers. They won't be needed anymore since I did some upgrades to the main deck and they aren't as good as they were in the past. Replacing them are going to be Pouncing Paws. This ninja equipment with Battleborn 1, it gives us a Crouching Tiger on demand, meaning we can extend our plays, doing some neat plays like for example a flying kick with only 2 cards. Next, joining the Pouncing Paws is going to be Tide Flippers. This is also a ninja equipment, block 0, but pretty important, it has AB1, so we are going to have a better time against wizards. And lastly, we want a chest that block physical damage. This is going to be Blood Scent. This equipment is also a ninja equipment with Battleborn 1, but this one is able to give us a resource on demand if we combine it with our Pouncing Paws. The first card getting the axe is going to be Give and Take. This is a Majestic that comes in the deck, but it isn't on the level I would like it to be. This card is helpful combating fatigue, since it can put a copy of itself back on the top of the deck, but I don't really think we are going to be needing that, especially since there are a lot of reactions in the meta and this card only cares about actual card blocking it. Next is going to be Razor Reflex. So I commented last episode I wanted to cut Razor Reflex, but it's really overperformed, so I want to keep at least one copy in the deck, and as one commenter pointed out, it's actually a really nice win condition when we are behind. Next, 3 Snatchers are going to get the axe. Snatch was really an underperformer, so Snatch gets worse if you have bad cards in the deck. And a lot of the blue cards weren't as good as I would like, so in that case drawing a blue for the arsenal isn't as good. And a lot of the red cards are in cost 0, so if I draw a red card and I want to extend, it might cost us a bit more on the turn. Next are going to be Soulbit Strikes, red and blue. Soulbit Strike is a nice card, but it isn't a reliable way of go again, so I just want to replace them with some more reliable cards. Next going to be Torrent of Tempo, same reasoning as Soulbit Strike. Next is going to be the Blue Withering Thorns. Blue Withering Thorns is a 2-block, 1 cost, not really what we want to have in our deck, especially since the on-hit can be easily blocked by an equipment or a card from hand. And lastly, the Lone Epot. I don't really know why this is in the deck, but that's why we're getting it out. A total of 33 new cards are going to be added to the deck, starting with a playset of Philosophist. This is a 0 for 4 with the text combo. While playing with the deck, I noticed Flick Flag wasn't being as effective as I would like it to be, since there are not a lot of combo cards in the deck. Philosophist helps playing with Flick Flag. On top of that, Scar for Scar combines really well with Philosophist, being a 2-card 9 damage turn. Next is going to be common a favorite card, Stony Woodhog. This card either comes for 7 or for 8, depending on what our opponent is going to give us. So if we sing our Edge of Autumn first into a Stony Woodhog, it would have 8 power unless our opponent is willing to give us 2 cards. Next, the cheapest disruption we can have is Humble. Humble being just a 2-card 6 that gets rid of our opponent's card effects. It can help us dealing some more disruption. Next is going to be some more value cards, being Sirens of the Safe Harbor in blue and in red. This card is just a 2 cost 7 value card, since we're also healing. So we're swinging Edge of Autumn into a Sirens for 7 into healing 1, having a total of 8 value this turn. Next, I noticed last game I needed to play a lot defensive, since our deck isn't as powerful as our opponent's deck. So we need to play defensive and wait for our turn. Basically, just play defensive until we have a nice hand that we can convert for some nice value. Fate Foreseen helps us doing that, and also helps us fixing our next turns. It combines really well with Sink Below. Next up is going to be a Place of Sigil of Solence. This is the same logic from the Fate Foreseen, but this also helps us against other ninjas and wizards. Next up, some sideboard cards is going to be 2 Calming Breeze. Calming Breeze is here to help us to play against the assassin and ninjas. Since we don't have access to Shelter from the Storm, Calming Breeze is the closest thing we have to stopping pings. Next up is going to be 2 copies of Oasis Respite. So now we have AB2, so an Oasis Respite and a blue card can cover something like a Burn Bear and heal us 1 life if we are low on life. So this is just against wizards mostly. Next up is going to be some blues. Bouncing Chi is another card with the text combo. It combos with Crushing Tiger, so we can, if we have a lot of tempo and we can just extend, we can do Crack Our Boots into Bouncing Chi. With the then we have 2 go again, and we can just make the turn larger. Next up is Open the Center. This is just another blue combo card that blocks 3, but this one costs 2, so we can do some plays like Autumn's Edge into Open Center. And lastly, Amulet of Echoes. This card is actually also against wizards. Osilio can't play really good into Amulet of Echoes since he needs to play multiple Golden Flash in his combo turn, and Verdance plays multiple Rampant Growth live in her combo turn, so she is forced to having the spell in Arsenal, otherwise she can't combo the turn. So these are the first upgrades we're going to be having for the deck. If you want to check the deck list, you can check the link in the description. There's going to be a February deck list with each week and which cards we have in our pool and the cards that we upgraded the deck with. So let's go to our armory. Today we find ourselves at Mana Against Berlin. Mana Against Berlin is one of the newer LGSs in Berlin. It has a lot of games and it gets pretty big armories regularly. So high risk, high reward. Again rising. Let's pull the CNC. Unravel. Could be worse. Our first round today is against Aragni Sleeps Through the Cracks, aka Slippy. Against Slippy, D-reacts are pretty important since he plays a lot of attack reactions and has go again. With help of the D-reacts, we can block his attacks without over-blocking and playing around the reactions. Second, Kiss of Death is a pretty strong card that Aragni has access to. He can flick it in order to do some extra damage. In that case, Calming Breeze is fairly relevant. And same case for Bonds of Agony. Bonds of Agony is a really scary card, but the D-reacts are able to help us against the card. So let's get into the first game of the second episode. So I'm playing against Slippy. He's presenting the classic equipment with a Crown of Providence. And he wins a die roll, so he wants to go first. Starts swinging with a glaive. I know since Slippy doesn't play that many reactions on dagger, so I can just block this cleanly with a 2 block, with a scar. I already have an arsenal I want to target, so I just want to get rid of this scar since I can't really use it, and I don't want to take the free damage and mark. So I just go swing with my Autumn's Edge into Vengeance cards for 4. If this hits, I can play it again. And I have a Legacy of Ikaru, but he has a D-React, so I just ends my turn there. And in his turn, he just passes, since apparently he bricked. Yeah. This turn for me was red heavy turns, so I could just go 1 into 3, go again into 4. So there wasn't much to do since I didn't have access to a lot of go again or a lot of damage. But my opponent had a really bad turn as well. He had two reactions, 1 command, and just another weak turn with a 3 go again that just gets blocked. So my next turn is also a bit lackluster since I am lacking a way of more go again or blue cards. So I can just do a Bittering Thorns into a Flying Kick with not much value. So I'm only getting 11 damage out of 3 cards, which is still pretty good, but it could be even better if the cards would line a bit different. So he did block a bit, but is still holding 3 cards. He starts with a Kiss of Death with a Severing Bloodshed, but I'm not marked, so I know the only way he's drawing a card is if he flicks. So as long as I am able to block 7, everything is going to be fine. And since I'm holding a D-React arsenal, I just block the 7 as he flicks, and I just avoid everything. After that, he plays a Codex of Frailty. I do here a small mistake since I forgot to discard, so please just ignore it when you see it on the image. I ignored the discard, so that's why I decided to block with with my leg equipment. After I noticed I forgot to discard, I just block with the 2 cards in hand and pass my turn arsenal. So I don't block with the equipments in that case, so I just pass my turn with no cards in my hand. So after having full tempo again, he swings for 3 go again into a Bonds of Agony with go again. Since I am prepared that he reacted again, I can just block for 6 and wait to see if he's going to commit to the bonds and I'm able to block it or not. But he just doesn't commit to the bonds and swings with the Hunter's Clip and passes. So since I blocked the bonds, I just had to give him for full tempo again. So I just pass. He swings again with the pain in the backside, and I block this time with my legs for real. And the scar, since I'm ahead in life, I can't really play this card efficiently. So apparently he just has a Countersclave into a body thing where he draws a card, but he has no reactions and no extra cards. So apparently he just passes turn, and I am able just to swing with my flying kick that I put in arsenal from the Codex of Frailty, and doing 2 card 9 value with help of the pouncing pause, and that's exactly why we got the pouncing pause first. And once again he swings the Hunter's Clip, but this time I have the Calming Breeze, so I can just avoid getting marked. With that I can just avoid cards like Take Up the Mantle, for example, or the Black Widow thingy. Next he plays the second bonds. I'm once again prepared with my D-React, so I blocked 5 and in total 6 with the help of the Calming Breeze, and with my D-React I can just keep overblocking. So I just overblock everything, and at the end he comes with a Command and Conquer, but my Flick Flag just helped me block 5, so I only gained 1 damage from all that. So once again he has full tempo and starts with a pain in the backside and an infect. I once again block with my Scar for Scar since I am so far ahead in life that I can't really play them without getting way far behind. And so I just swing for 1 into a Humble for 7. I think probably blocking with the Tarantula Toxin was a mistake, even though he had no more daggers. I think probably being able to block more points of damage on the Humble is probably better. And he also blocks a Razor's Edge, so I am thinking he doesn't have any relevant on hits he wants to get through. which it was true since he just recovers a dagger with a second pick up the point. Now he has a dagger, but it's not that good in value. So I just do a back-to-back humble turn, threatening to take his hero ability away, and he has a clean block. After that, he's doing some weird plays that I don't really get with the 7 bloodshed and the Black Widow. So I'm just able to block everything cleanly and head into my turn, attacking for 1 into a torrent of tempo for 6. He checks if I have like any reactions, but he just takes it, and since I have no follow-up, it just passes. Comes back with an infiltrate, which is a clean block, but has the tarantula toxin, and banishes a card that I think we actually forget about the cards later, since he started banishing so many cards from my deck. So at this point I'm far ahead in damage, so 11 life on top, and I just do a really neat turn where I throw with my start with my Autumn's Edge into Vengeance, into more Vengeance, threatening his arsenal, but he has the mask ready, so I just get rid of the mask, but I still am able to push 13 damage, giving him to 6 life, and this is where it gets a bit scary. So he starts for Weaver and an effect for 6. I don't really want to block that since that's just damage and I'm so far ahead. So I'm just, at this point I just want to block some Disruption. And the Disruption came. So he still had 2 cards in hand. At that point I had no D-React. But my hand was able to play regardless of what he takes away. So I just took the Persuasive and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So he not only plays 1 but 2 just an X, pushing the card to 11 and healing himself 3 life since he banished 1 reaction from the top. So that was a bit scary, and he almost equalized the life, but I still had 4 cards to work with and it pushed and damage. So at the end of the game, it just becomes a back and forth since I am ahead since I have a bit more tempo that he does, especially since I have a bit more of life that he does. I can just start pushing more damage. After the Persuasive turn, I just push 8 damage and heal 1 using the extra card I had in hand just to get rid of the Blood Pox token. So I'm still way far ahead in life. So the back and forth is just trading blow for blows, but since I have a bit more value and I have way more equipments, I'm just bound to win, especially since I have tempo, equipment, and damage. So I'm just able to take the game from there. But I would like to say the game come fairly close to fatigue. And here we can see how important the blue card quality is, since the flying kick helped us just win that game at the end, providing 5 damage on a longer chain. The next opponent is going to be Kano. Kano is a wizard player that starts with 30 life, but we need to always be on the defensive against him, since he can combo us out of existence easily. So that means Oasis Respite is a key card in this matchup, since it can stop Ether Wildfire with the help of AB2. We can block an Ether Wildfire for 6. And we need to be as aggressive as possible while still having something like an Oasis available to just avoiding die in our turn. So Kano wins the die roll, decides to go first. He starts activating some blind Kanos, which with the help of the blind Kanos he finds a potion of Deja Vu. That isn't great for us, but it's still way better than him finding an energy potion, since that gives him a higher ceiling for his combo. After that, he just parks a Blazing Ether in his arsenal, and he's just waiting until he has his combo ready. So I was pretty lucky to have an Oasis Respite on my first hand, so I just swing for 8 damage, trying to do some disruption, and putting it in arsenal just to wait. So after that I just need to keep 1 floating in order to keep me safe of immediately dying. So the next turns are a bit back and forth. I just swing, he blocks and tries to set up. He just plays 2 energy potions, and after a while he eventually draws the cards he needs for his combo. In this case being an Open the Floodgates and Ether Wildfire. He overpitches both in a Kano activation in order to put them back with the potion of Deja Vu. and he swing. So that would probably be some room for improvement, since I'm pretty sure he could only pitch one and overpitch another one, then use the potion of the Yabu and the Ragamuffin's hat to put them both back on his hand, and he's still having a blue card in hand to do some more action. So here comes the scary card, being Ether Wildfire. It comes for 6, so it's actually a pretty clean block for the Waste of Respite. And after that, his whole turn is just a bit useless, since without the Wildfire, the Open the Floodgates just doesn't draw a card, and without those 2 extra cards, then he can't really push the damage. So I just keep pushing some damage until he eventually has to die, like has to combo or die, and he doesn't find like another combo, and I just eventually just win that game. Round 3 we are playing against Arachne Marionette, aka Mario. Similar to Slippy, he plays a lot of attack reactions, meaning the reacts are pretty good to play against him. Whenever he marks us and we're still marked at the end of the turn, he gets to transform into one of his 6 forms that unlock a lot of terrifying effects. For example, Arachne Black Widow can rip a card from us if the attack hits. Or he can also be playing a dagger gameplay where he pumps a Graphene Salicera for huge amounts of power, and he swings. Meaning the Graphene Salicera is also a card that he can target with his reactions, so the card can get pretty large. So game 3 starts and Mario decides to swing the Hunter's Clave. It's fairly important to notice a lot of Marios are playing the dagger archetypes, meaning they have a couple of reactions to play on the daggers. So if we just block 3, maybe he can't do a couple of reactions and pump the dagger to 7. So that's why the reacts are so important in this matchup. And he indeed has a reaction pumping it +1, so I just decided to use my Fate Foreseen just to avoid getting marked and having some more extra life. But he flicks and re-equips a Graphene and rolls, and unfortunately for us, he rolls into a Black Widow. But my crackback was absolutely insane. I start swinging my Edge of Autumn into a Bittering Thorns. Since he didn't block, I just play my Legacy of Ikaru, drawing an extra card, and then I just swing with my Torrent of Tempo, and he lets it through. And I play the card I drew with the Vengeance card for 4. He decides to block 3, and I didn't really want it to be greedy, and so I didn't flake my weapon, especially since I was in such a commanding position, having a great life lead on the first turn. So even though his turn wasn't that great and dealing damage, he had some Black Widow action since he was able to rip 2 cards from my hand. I was thinking that the last card in his hand was a Tarantula Toxin, and I had a lot of 2 blocks, so I didn't really want to block that and give him like the full value from the Tarantula Toxin. My hand after that was only 2 Scarfus cards that I really couldn't play since I didn't took that much damage. So I just started getting in the back foot. The turn after that, it gets proven that his last card was the Tarantula Toxin. So yeah, at least I sniffed it out. Now that I'm low in life, I just get like a brick hand. Here's where I started noticing how huge the sirens actually are. So I'm just able to block his weapon with the sirens and heal. After that, I'm just block more and swing with another sirens, and I'll heal even more. So suddenly I'm not that far behind in life. So the sirens actually helped a lot equalizing the life. So especially those 3 silence I play back to back. That was only 3 extra life that I got. Otherwise, we would be like pretty even on life. But the sirens gave large advantage. Here he plays the cuts from the same cloth, so he knows my hand, and he notices the my turn is pretty face up after that. So he just pushes some damage, and I actually got scarily down to 8. At this point, the third Tarantula Toxin is looking pretty scary, and I don't want to die to that. But since he knows my hand is face up, he actually knows that I can flick my weapon to give a CNC for 7. So he basically just, I know he's going to block 7. That's why I kind of flick it preventively in the chain before, just to get some extra value from that. And he wasn't really expecting that. So he transforms into the Arsenal Disruption Arachne. But I was luckily prepared with a D-Reaction Arsenal. So here he plays a Bonds. Him having 2 cards but only 1 reaction on the board means he's going to swing with the Bonds and the Flick Knives, using 1 card from his hand in order to activate his hero ability to give it +3 and on hit banish Arsenal. And at worst, he's going to play a Just a Nick from hand. But it could be even worse if he has double Just a Nick, so I just tried to play around 1 Just a Nick, blocking 4 in here, and I had a D-React in Arsenal and hand, so if he plays Just a Nick, I'm just able to match his 12 to his 12. And depending on what he has, I wanted to sync what I had. Since I had Sigil in hand, I could just play the Sigil and maybe I could try Fish for a 30 react if he has double Just a Nick. But luckily he had only 1 Just a Nick, so I blocked perfectly his 12 and was able to sync the Sigil for a blue card in order to swing for 8 damage. So now we're a bit low, and as I said before, the third Kiss of Death is looking fairly scary. We just trade a couple of value turns until he plays his, I think it's the second or third Kiss of Death. So I knew I had to block that, especially since I had 2 cards from hand. I knew he was going to react into that. So, but I was ready with double D-React, so the moment he played the turn 2 Atoxing, I just play my double D-React, go to 2, equalizing the life. And I use the new equipment we got just to get some extra resource and extra go again. And just being able to rip his whole hand and finish the game from that position. The last game is against Verdance. Verdance has a couple of archetypes that she can play. Either heavy combo deck or just chipping damage with Waning Moon, having some value, and then comboing my turn. So that's why we need the Oasis Respites to block them, to block their K damage, since Oasis Respite plus AV2 is just a clean burn block, or Pulsing Ether Life plus Waning Moon, it's also a clean block to that. The Sigils are also helpful in this matchup, since it helps us to get out of range, or it can just disrupt the math from Verdance. If she thinks she can't kill us, we can just play Sigil, prevent some damage, and avoid dying. So we lose the die roll, Verdance lets us go first. This is the important match, since this match decides if we win the Armory or not. So I can do a lot of things. I can just do Arsenal Pass, and Verdance has an East-Track, so she can convert his whole hand into an East-Track with a Pulsing Ether Life, pushing 11 damage. I block 6 of this damage, and I come back with a Scar for Scar, since it's a bit... doesn't happen that often that my Scar has Go again in this matchup. And at the end I come with a Neck Vengeance. I have the feeling that he has no D-React, otherwise he would have probably used it on the Scar for Scar, I think. So I just flick my weapon here. Sadly he has no Arsenal, and I can't punish him for that. Verdance plays a small Flame in the Crown only for 4, but I still need to put a card from my hand to the bottom of my deck. My hand isn't great, so I just decided to put 1 card on the bottom, blocking with a D-React, and using the Sigil in my hand to heal 3 life. After that I just do an Arsenal and pass. Once again, we are in this value game. This value game happens fairly often against the Earth Heroes, since they can block really well and they have really strong 2-card plays. For example, Verdance has access to Fall in the Crown, Plow Under, and in this case also Cavers Tilling for 8 damage. So we find ourselves just blocking with 2 cards and swinging with 2 cards. A couple of times Verdance also plays a non-attack action and then activates the Waning Moon. But since I have AV2 and Waning Moon also only does to 2 damage in his turn, I'm just able to be fully block that and go a lot of turns without really pushing, getting a lot of damage. And on top of that, the Sirens of the Safe Harbor actually help a lot into getting that life equalized. Now in a play like this, we can actually see how the Verdance start getting a bit desperate in order to get us down, since as we say, there is this illegal mode of Easter egg, just go again, and Verdance actively using the go again mode of Easter egg and playing this Felling of the Crown. In this Felling, I was fairly tempted just to take it, but if I take the Felling, I'm just immediately dead to Burnber if the Verdance player actually draws the Burnber. I was also considering just block, but in hindsight, maybe I should just have blocked with my arms, keeping myself at 11 life and being able to push 1 into 5 or 6 damage. So pushing 12 damage is almost lethal for the Verdance, so she wouldn't be able to play with a full hand after that. But Verdance can't really convert a full hand, as we can see here, it just IPs 1 herself. But I'm also a bit stuck since I don't have that much go again. So I can't do my 2-card 9, so I just pitch this red Vengeance card into my Scar for 5. The Vengeance card can be a bit relevant later, since I can flick my weapon to give it +1. And yeah, so he once again plays a strong card, Plow Under, but I have my Wristbite and Arsenal. It isn't that great since I want to use the card mostly for Arcane, stopping Arcane, but since I can just avoid getting my Arsenal ripped away, I can just play like that. And the Sigil also keeps me far away from combo range. But now I start realizing that we're a bit low on cards. So Verdance isn't playing Evergreen, so I wasn't thinking that she could actually fatigue us. But yeah, I was just starting to get a bit afraid, since the Verdance cards are really big. Something also problematic against Verdance is she's not only playing like about 9 plus D-Reacts, she's also on Mental Block. Mental Block can screw us really hard if we are trying to flick our weapon. But like you can see at this turn where Verdance throws the Mental Block, thinking she can just overblock for 8 when we come with the CNC Vengeance and Vengeance. But we had the Legacy of Hikaru, and we actually were able to get that on hit. And the Verdance just IPs herself, and with the draw, I just keep doing what I do, get a Whirling Mist Blossom for 3 cards drawn, but honestly, it wasn't, like, we don't have that good card quality in the deck, so if we draw 3 cards, we need to draw like a big card throw, since there's no way we have like actually relevant go against things. So now we start getting into the pitch deck territory. So before I had a bit of a brick turns, but I was always able to pitch something. Since we were in the back and forth, I could always use 1 red card to pitch for my sword and attack with a small attack. And now the pitch deck is coming back, so we see a lot of the blue cards. Luckily, the blue card quality is actually fairly decent. It's not the greatest one, but it's actually a blue card quality that I don't complain a lot, especially when we compare against the Kodachi's era. So now we have the Verdance against the strings, and with a life lead of 19, there's not much she can do, and she just tries to, I don't know, just plays the Burn Bear. But I think maybe if she just kept blocking, maybe she just fatigues us, since he has a lot of attacks, but who am I to know? But thank you for tuning. These games were actually fairly interesting to see, especially since all of these games are something you can actually find at an Armory. So this Armory was high risk, high reward, but we somehow managed to win. Let's read what we assume. And we have absolutely nothing in the first pack. And the second pack. Oh. Okay, that's a bit more. And nothing special. Also, for Armory Afterthoughts. So to be honest, I didn't expect to go 4-0 in the first Armory after making the upgrades for the deck. That's honestly quite a big surprise for me. A card I think that outperformed today were the Sirens of the Safe Harbor. I think they healed so much. I got so much value out of the cards. I honestly couldn't believe how much value I got of them. So that's definitely a card that I should keep my eyes on. Otherwise, I think the equipment slip was pretty good. The Oasis Wristbites did their job against the Wizards. Since we got matched against two Wizards, Oasis won single-handedly the game against the Kano. Yeah, I think that's nothing else to say. Please subscribe, follow me on X, link is down below in the description. And if you want to see the deck list for each week, just check also the description. There's going to be a February link with the deck list with the different versions for each week. See ya!